Well, for more on the DACA lawsuits and what Congress is doing to negotiate on behalf of Dreamers, I'm joined by constitutional lawyer Bruce Fein. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So let's start with a look at the latest developments in California's lawsuit against President Trump's DACA plan.
The general challenge is based upon the idea that President Trump's decision to rescind the DACA program was arbitrary, capricious. It didn't have any factual foundation for it. Now, I think that it's a weak case because the president himself, President Obama, repeatedly said he didn't have any authority to give the relief that DACA did for several years, insisting that Congress had to enact a statute. And when he did go forward, he made it clear that it was limited in its duration. It was an executive order, and a president can repeal an executive order. I think the lawsuits are more, I believe, an effort to publicize the issue and to make it more difficult to Congress escape from their responsibility to act before March than it is likely to produce some kind of judicial decision in their favor.
So far, the groundwork that's in deal this year?
I think there are many pieces to the puzzle here. One issue is if they grant an extension of the program, will that ultimately be a citizenship or not? Will they just be permanent green card holders? Will they be able to bring in relatives and family members, or will that be curtailed and put them in a position less generous than those who come through the regular process? But more importantly, I think, as you're indicating, is the timing of the trying to stick on a DACA bill on the appropriations measure. What's going to happen, in my judgment, there'll be a delicate balancing between putting in money for the wall, limiting the amount of legal immigration President Trump wants with the DACA program. There's going to be trade-offs here. It's very constructive to shutting down the whole, because American people aren't going to we're suffering because persons who came here really are political tactic. But going through the right bill and the right terms, and I have a strong case that those who are DACA members, upon what we know, the huge percentage are billionaires, are immigrants. They are very entrepreneurial, far more in proportion to their numbers, Americans born in the United States, and we ourselves in the foot to deprive of the country. They want to stay here and clearly have shown to prosper.
And a lot about a potential brain drain. What is all people wanting to enroll in university here and
Well, I do think some indications that some of those who might stay here now, Canada capacity, we are far. That's what's going to happen. We'll be at the person's side because until this is settled, you don't mentally and others staying in that situation. My view is that immigration rules legal, but
so how is preparing for a potential loss of?
I don't think that in the United States in general that we lack the ability to attract foreign students. They want to come in greater numbers. Now, DACA students are they've shown they're very, very talented. I think the important element is to provide some sense of certainty and predictability so that persons don't come and then they find 2 or 3 years down the road all their plans are upset. People who have long-term vision and an idea of what they want to accomplish don't like to live in that kind of erratic environment, if you will. And I think that there'll be an effort to try to provide that kind of stability and the compromise that I think will probably surface before March.
Now, a lot of people are wondering, when it comes to foreign talent, they turn to Silicon Valley. That tends to be who we look at. What do you think their role is going to be in this immigration reform debate? Well,
Silicon Valley, they're a little bit naive in how they lobby Congress. California is almost like a third world with regard to their politics and their culture compared to Washington, D.C. But it's clear that these huge employers, Google's and the Twitters and the Facebook and Silicon Valley that's produced an enormous amount of wealth, will be lobbying Congress very hard for permitting DACA students and employees to remain, and many of them work in Silicon Valley, and it's obviously a cutting-edge industry that's providing jobs and is really keeping us really ahead of the Chinese and the Russians with regard to our technological advantage.
Right. Well, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we'll have to leave it there.